Do you know that feeling of really, really wanting something, but not knowing if you can have it? It sucks. It's like our goal, the thing that we want most in life, the thing that should make us feel on top of the world, is actually the cause of really deep pain and disappointment. At the Joy Within, we call that feeling the quiet I can't. It's when there's a gap between your desire and your belief. And because you don't quite believe in that thing that you say that you want, your mind starts slowing you down. It's trying to protect you. Often we think that we're moving towards our goals, like we think that we're really trying, when deep down we secretly know that we're holding ourselves back. That gap between our desire and our belief is one of the 7 masks of unconscious unhappiness, one of the ways in which our mind tricks us into feeling down, when we should feel more joyful, more in flow, and at ease. The challenge is, this feeling doesn't always look like doubt. Like we don't often say, oh, I don't believe I can get this, as we're moving towards our goals. But we do procrastinate, we do hesitate, we get bogged down making decisions. Maybe we start to question whether we really want the goal, whether it's worth it. Or maybe we start to downplay how much we actually do want it. We try to convince ourselves that it isn't really a big deal, when deep down we know that it is. These are all different manifestations of the same core issue. So over the next few minutes, I want to help you unmask the quiet I can't. I want you to understand what it is, what's really going on here, and then to identify how it might be showing up in your day without you really noticing it. Once you can see how these patterns play out, you'll be able to catch yourself whenever you're holding yourself back, and you'll be more able to move in flow, to feel just propelled forward towards the things that you want most. I'm Kyle Greenfield with The Joy Within, where I help people transform unconscious unhappiness to more conscious and deliberate joy. I've been a stress and well-being coach for nearly 10 years now, and every single issue, every fear that I'm talking about here today, I have experienced firsthand. I have helped others through them, and I need you to know that you can get through them as well. We have a ton of free courses, strategies, and techniques available for you at thejoywithin.org. But first, let's dive deeper into the quiet I can't, because I think this one impacts all of us at some point. I think we've all had that experience of not quite knowing, not quite believing that our goals would pan out. And the danger here is that if we let that fear, and this could be a fear of rejection, of failure, of criticism, even a fear of success, or of not living up to your potential. Whatever that fear is, the danger is that we let it hold us back from the things that we really want. We don't allow ourselves to be the person that we know we are capable of being. I'll tell you, I lived in that space for a long time, and it's one of the most painful experiences that I've ever been through. That pain of wanting something without believing that you can have it. And it's so tough because if we let that fear fester within us, we don't just lose confidence, we lose hope. So I want to unpack this in a way that hopefully allows you to see through some of the mind's tricks. Because as I said, the quiet I can't often doesn't look like doubt. It doesn't look like fear, even if that's what's really going on behind the surface. And awareness is key here. Because even though we might kind of know, you know what, I'm afraid of failing here, we're not usually actively thinking about it. We're just trying to get through the day, trying to move forward, but feeling worn down in the process. Often, when we have meaningful goals, it can be hard not to feel burdened by them. There's something about seeing so clearly the vision for what you want that we get over-eager to get there. And then when we look up and we see a gap, we see that we're not there yet. We feel discouraged, just a little bit at first. But if that happens over and over again, every day starts to feel like a burden. Every day of not being there starts to feel heavier and heavier. The goal itself starts to feel like a weight that we must carry. I think that's the core characteristic of this mask. My goal feels like a burden. It weighs me down rather than lifts me up. And when we feel that, it usually means one of two things. Either we're going after the wrong goals, or there's a part of us that is doubting in that goal. I talk more about not having the right goals in mask number 4, the selective should. But mastering the quiet I can't is about understanding and owning up to those hidden doubts. The first time I experienced this, I was early on in my career. I had started my first company pretty young, so I had a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure very quickly. And I remember having these days where I would basically just lose the day for no reason whatsoever. Like, I would sit down to work, I would know what I would have to do, but I would wind up staring out the window. Or I'd check email for 5 minutes, and then I'd click off and read the news for an hour. Or, and this was the worst, I would start doing other tasks that looked like work, but were not actually the thing that I needed to be doing. It felt like working hard because the work felt draining, but really I was just avoiding doing the things that mattered because I was afraid of failure. Subconsciously, I didn't want to let myself go all in because my ego needed an escape hatch. It needed to say, if things don't work out, well, then at least I didn't try my best. At least I didn't go all in. Of course, it sounds absolutely ridiculous when I say it like that. But when we're going through it, it's not so obvious. I didn't know that was the story my mind was creating. I just felt blocked. I would just catch myself procrastinating or notice that I was being indecisive about something. And it wasn't until much, much later that I realized that this was my mind's really twisted attempt to protect me from failure. Looking back now, I know how common this is. We've all had moments when we've hesitated or procrastinated or just not done the thing that we know we should do to move us forward. But we don't often realize that that's a form of hiding from ourselves. We don't realize that we secretly doubt whether or not that action will lead us to the outcome that we want. And that it's that doubt that is the reason that we are avoiding it. So we want to be able to catch this pattern in the little habits that build up over time. That's why I said we want to look for this feeling of being weighed down during the day. Because those habits, the little moments of procrastination or hesitation or indecision, result from that. For example, getting up to grab that extra cup of coffee might be a well-deserved break, but it can also be a default procrastination response. If we hit a mini wall, like, I don't quite know how to do this, or I don't really want to do this right now, then getting up to go grab that coffee becomes a sneaky self-protective mechanism. I'm secretly afraid of taking that next step, so I try to avoid it. And we have to be honest with ourselves about that. That's what's so tricky about this mask. It shows up in 1,000 little ways, and no one action seems like it's wrong. I mean, it's not wrong to take a break. It's not wrong to think, you know what, I'm just going to clean up my desk or organize those files before I get started. Those actions aren't wrong unless they are driven by a fear that's trying to stop you from moving towards your goals. When all of those little things start to stack up, that's when this becomes a really nasty pattern, and it can lead to some pretty destructive spirals. The worst, I think, is we gradually stop showing up for ourselves. We stop taking action on all of those tiny little commitments that we make to ourselves. So we lose confidence and self-trust. Then, obviously, we don't make progress because we're not actually doing the things that will lead us towards our goals. We're just pretending to do them. And that becomes self-fulfilling, so we wind up creating the negative outcome that we feared. I have found that the only way to break this pattern is to be able to see through it. That means we have to connect the outer habit to the inner doubt or fear that we hold. Personally, I think that means we have to be really honest. I mean, brutally honest with ourselves about this. So if we get distracted and just check the news for a minute, we might ask, why did that happen? Am I just trying to avoid something here? If so, what? When we come back into alignment, we begin to see trust and doubt as states that we choose in each and every moment. In this moment, I am either trusting in my goal or I am not. It's that simple. No maybes, no what ifs. Right now, either I am trusting or I am not. I find this all or nothing approach makes it so much easier to spot those hidden doubts and fears. It helps us to interrupt them, to clarify them, and then to shift, to realign into our preferred state of being. And I encourage you to take some time to reflect on how this plays out for you. Notice when you feel weighed down by your goals. Notice when you are hesitant or distracted, and confront yourself about it. So I want to share a few questions that I hope will clarify this mask for you. And feel free to journal or reflect on these in whatever way feels right for you. Number 1, how much time do you waste hesitating, procrastinating, or staring off into space? Number 2, what goal or dream do you secretly fear that you're not the kind of person who achieves? Number 3, how often do you downplay what you want in order to avoid disappointment? Maybe you tell yourself you're fine and it's okay, you don't really need it. Number 4, when you imagine taking a bold step, what is the first doubt that surfaces? And where did that doubt come from? And number 5, what would it feel like to believe fully that what you want is already possible for you? Take your time to reflect on these over the next few days. Just notice your patterns without trying to force any change at first. Just notice those little moments of procrastination or hesitation or indecision and start to ask, what am I trying to cover up here? To help you with that, I encourage you to head over to thejoywithin.org and sign up for our free 7-day reset. This will show you how to step back and find just a little bit of space so you can start to see your patterns at work. Breaking out of the quiet I can't doesn't have to be difficult. It's easier than you think to rebuild confidence and trust in your goals. But you have to notice your patterns first. That lays the foundation to help you come back into alignment so you can start to feel more excited, more fulfilled as you go about your day. Thank you so much for your time and your presence here today. If you've enjoyed this video, please do me a quick favor and pass it on. I believe that we all deserve to feel calm, confident, and happy, no matter what challenges we're going through. And the only way that we can do that is if we get past our blocks, get out of our own way, and come back into alignment. So you can check out my free training on the path of alignment to learn more about how to do that, or head over to thejoywithin.org to get started with the 7-day reset.